So, here's another crazy story. So, obviously, Bobcat's here tonight. I open for Bobcat quite a bit. I open for Chris Kattan sometimes from SNL. You don't have to collab, but I've opened for a lot of cool people. You guys probably aren't going to believe this, but the very first celebrity I ever opened for was Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy, the Hedgehog. You guys remember that guy? I fucking opened for him. He got into comedy for like 3 seconds 5 years ago, back before he got arrested for all those sex crimes. Like, my agent called me and was like, hey, do you want to open for Ron Jeremy? And my question to him was, you're still booking comedy, right? Like, this is still the comedian company, correct? Like, Anyway, I took the gig, obviously, and this was at a comedy club down in Ohio, and I was introduced to Ron on night number 1. Super nice guy, by the way, but right off the bat, things got really awkward and weird. The first thing he said to me was like, hey, kid, listen, if I were to slip you some money, do you think you might be able to score me some coke and have it waiting in my hotel room after the show? Yeah, he casually asked me to get him cocaine in the same manner that you would ask your best friend to get you an orange Fanta out of the fridge at a fucking sleepover, right? Like, and I started panicking, guys, because this was the first celebrity I ever opened for, and I didn't want to let him down, obviously. And also, I'm not into hardcore drugs. Like, I'm not even into softcore drugs. Like, I've never shot up marijuana. I've never shoved a Viagra up my ass. I don't know how any of that shit works. Right? So I started panicking. And I had one contact at this club down in Ohio, and he was the promoter, the guy that put the weekend together. And luckily, he was at the show on this night. So while the MC was on stage, I went and I found him. He was in the back of the room just kind of chilling on a chair. He was just scrolling on his phone without a care in the world. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, listen, I don't want to make this weird or anything, but Ron just asked me to get him cocaine. And without even missing a beat, guys, I swear to God, he doesn't look up from his phone or stop scrolling at all. He just goes, oh yeah, go into my office, left-hand side of the desk, middle drawer. Yeah, so now he's acting like I casually just asked him to get an orange Fanta out of the fridge, right? Like, where the fuck was it? So go into the office, left-hand side of the desk, middle drawer, sure as shit, guys, cocaine, lots of it. And when I say lots of cocaine, I don't mean like cocaine inside of a container, no, like you open the drawer and it looked like a fucking blizzard happened inside the desk. And there were Ziploc bags sitting on top of the desk, and I figured, well, that's what the fuck that's for. So I opened one of those, took a handful of cocaine, tossed it in there, Ziplocked it shut, threw it in my pocket. Again, I don't know if I had a gram, an ounce. Again, I'm not from that fucking world, okay? I had a bag full of cocaine, and it was now in my pocket. I know that, right? So I go out into the showroom, and at this point, the MC's wrapping up his set, and he was like, ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Cole. So I ran up on stage, guys, and I proceeded to do 30 minutes of stand-up comedy with this big bulging bag of cocaine in my pocket. I actually had to address it at one point because I went into that bit about how I have an average-sized penis, and there was a woman in the back of the room. She was like, it doesn't look too average for I'm sitting on it. And I was like, man, that's actually a very legal drug, but thank you for the compliment. Everybody laughed. They thought it was a joke, but it fucking wasn't, right? Then we get back to the hotel, and I start walking down the hall towards Ron's room. And as I'm getting closer to Ron's room, I can hear him loudly having sex with what sounds like 4 or 5 different women. And it's just getting louder the closer I'm getting. And I finally get there, knock on the door. He answers, guys, wearing a Hawaiian shirt and some tighty whities. And I look behind him to see what's going on. He wasn't having sex with anybody, guys. He was literally watching some retro 90s era porn in which he was starring on VHS, no less. And he looks at me and goes, did you get the coke? And I was like, yeah, Ron, I got the fucking coke. So I pulled out of my pocket, I held it up. His eyes got really big and he backed up because he was really surprised. He was like, kid, I literally just wanted a Coca-Cola Classic. Then he was like, but this'll do. And he took it out of my hand and he went back into the room and shut the door. And I started walking down the hall back towards my room and I hear his door open back up. So I turn around, I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me. And then reminiscent of that Mean Joe Green Coke commercial from the 70s, he looks at me and goes, hey kid, thanks. And then he tossed me his tighty whities. And he just kind of hit my shoulder and fell to the ground. And I look back up at him and he goes, you know what, you really came through for me tonight. If I asked you for a Coke and you brought me cocaine, tomorrow night I'm going to up the ante and ask for a tossed salad for dinner.